Michail Antonio. Divides opinion. Let's just say that for the start. No matter where you stand on him, he does divide opinion. Now, this past week, he decided to come out and say that he really fancied not only himself, I presume, but also the club to finish above Liverpool. He said, you know, Wolves could have put a few goals past them and they were lucky to win over there or along them lines. And then yesterday put in a very, very below par performance, and I'm being nice about that. Look, let's get out there. I love Antonio. I think when he's on form, he's probably one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. Lacks a lot of technical ability. I think we all know that, but he more than makes up for it with his physicality and his desire and etc. etc. He's a handful, and a lot of Premier League defenders don't like playing against him. The trouble is that when he's not on form, then he's not really a problem. He's not physical. He falls over himself. He tries to win free kicks because, I don't know, maybe he doesn't fancy himself, trying to run the length of the half to try and get in the opposition box. Because as a striker, in our team, he's not going to get much service. He has to do all the hard work himself. He has to, sort of try doubly as hard as maybe most players in the team, to be fair, and that's going to take his toll. That's not easy. Let's give him his due. That's not easy. When you give him the job that Antonio is given, other players can't do it. Danny Ings can't do it. Skamaka couldn't do it. Heller couldn't do it. Right? There's other players out there that we've had in the past. Bowen, when he goes up front, doesn't have the physical presence that Michail Antonio has. So he struggles, and Kudus has been signed and can potentially play up front, as we've heard, but he hasn't got the physical presence. He's a technical player. He's the opposite of Michail Antonio. And when you're playing this system, which has worked well for the first 5 games, first 4 games, whatever it is, we got wins in and unbeaten. It was fantastic. It worked well. Brighton was his best game of the season. And it was fantastic, and there's all respect to him there. But against Man City, specifically, he had the chance where he put through 1-on-1 and a heavy touch, and the ball goes straight into the keeper's arms. And those little moments when it was 1-1, and that could potentially put us 2-1 up. Those little moments in the Premier League, you don't get many chances at home to City and away to Liverpool, and you have to take them. And yesterday, at the start of the game, there was a moment Thomas Suchek played the best ball he's ever played in a West Ham shirt. It was a fantastic ball over the top. And just before he got the ball, I think me and most other fans were going, this is your chance, Michail. You've been saying it all week. You've been saying that you fancy yourself. Now's your chance. And he done a classic Antonio miss, where you just think it was harder to do that than it was to take the ball down and hit the ball. And you go for a shot. And my worry is the fact that, Michail Antonio used to get injured quite a lot. He hasn't been injured the last few years like he normally does. And that's played into our hands, and that's been to our benefit. But he doesn't always turn up. And when we play this system, it heavily relies on Antonio being on his top form. In the week in Europe against Topola, debut season in the Europa League. I think they failed in qualifiers to the Champions League. That's why they dropped down to the Europa League. But they basically played the same system as we do, and we struggled until we brought Antonio on, and then 5 minutes after he come on, we scored the first goal, 1-1, and then went on to win 3-1. But he's the ace in the hole. He's the one that without him, we look lost. We look a bit laboured. We look a bit, deer in headlights. We don't really know what to do. If we are going to play this counter-attack, potentially without Antonio, our counter-attacking needs to be perfect. It needs to be on point every single time. We can't have 1 in 3 attacks, there's a chance there. We've got Kudus and Bowen, both pacey players, but they don't get the service. No forward players get the service. They have to make the service themselves. Or we have to have the whole team going up forward, and then we leave ourselves open to balls over the top. As we showed last 2 games with Aged giving away two mistakes. And this is the trouble with our squad depth. We've bought very well in the transfer market, very, very well this season. I'm not arguing that. But in the one position which we probably should have thought a bit more about was the striker option, because at the back, Safal's, like a pace is a worry. He got absolutely roasted by Doku against Man City. But Moyes has Kera there as an alternative. He's then got Agard, who, made a mistake against City, which led to a goal. Made a mistake against Liverpool, led to a penalty, and then potentially even the Nunes goal. So that's potentially 3 in 2 games. And he's got Mavropanos or Ogbonna as alternative. But with Antonio, there's no one. You kind of have to shift the whole team to make it work, and even then it doesn't work. Yesterday was the case that he went off. We didn't have a hope in hell chance of even getting a shot on target, never mind a goal. So it's one of those things. He's signed a new contract now, so he's here whether we like it or not. I'm not saying I don't want him here. I'm just saying that if he's going to be here, we can't rely on him as much as we have been, because he isn't consistent enough. To me, he's along the same lines as Benrahma, because Benrahma's been trusted quite a lot on the left-hand side in the last couple of seasons. It hasn't really pushed on. We've now got to the point now where, because Moyes wants to play Suchek, we have to more or less have four centre midfielders in the midfield. So that means Paqueta gets pushed off onto the left wing, or Emerson gets pushed up to make more room for the midfielders. So our squad becomes unbalanced. And look, I've made it clear, I am Moyes out. I find he's one-dimensional. There's no conceivable plan B with him, as this video, highlights. I respect him. I respect him for winning us the Conference League. I respect him for doing better this season with substitutions. His signings and his lineups make a lot more sense. Ariola's in goal now over Fabianski, so he's made big decisions like that. But going forward, these sort of games, you can't ignore them. You have to, in my opinion, you have to criticise them as much as you would praise a win. So in that respect, to me, praise him as Moyes in whatever the crowd, the ones who like him, the ones who think he's great, fantastic. I respect that completely. And when he wins, I can't say nothing, because we've won the game. His game plan has worked. Brilliant. Fine margins, excellent. But when he loses, there seems to be this thing of, we're just going to be Moyes out, you're just going to slag him off. Well, no, but I'm not going to slag the man off. I'll slag his decisions off. I'll criticise where we've gone wrong, where I think we could have done better. I think that's fair with any manager. It's not fickle. It's just looking, well, it could be fickle to be fair, but it's just looking at the rights and wrongs of what's gone on. So, and, I think no one's above that, personally. So I think we're at a conundrum now where we've kind of realised that. I probably wouldn't have said all this. I probably wouldn't have brought this all to light, because we all know it anyway. But because Antonio's been so vocal in his podcast the last week, I was expecting a big performance out of him. I was expecting, a bulldozing, maybe even a goal performance. But we got the total opposite of that. I think he maybe did good work for the goal we scored, making the play for Bowen and stuff like that to score the header. But apart from that, he was a ghost. So it's something that I think, we need to look at, the club needs to look at, maybe even try Obama, because he's built like Antonio. He's a youth player, so the Premier League teams won't know as much about him. It could work, but he needs game time. He needs to be trusted, and maybe he'll start against Lincoln and he'll score a goal, and maybe that's a bit. But we all know realistically that Obama could score a hat-trick in a week, and it's not really going to make a difference. He's probably not even going to come on, and if he does come on, it'll be for 5-10 minutes, and we don't know where the game's going to be at that point. So, it's food for thought. I know it's Liverpool, I know it's Man City, I know we weren't expected to get a win or even play well there, but I think we're better than most people make it out to be. I think we could give City and Liverpool a game, not just in the first half, but in the whole 90 minutes. So that's my opinion. Agree with it, disagree with it. I totally understand, totally respect. Get your comments in. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me I'm right or correct, or you agree with me. It's a free for all. It's the internet. Go for it. That's what it's here for. So thanks for hearing me rant on and ramble and give me opinion. And hopefully I'll win in the next game. Come on, your ones.